us here today. We're going to be talking about ways that you guys can reduce your energy consumption and save money on your energy bill. Let's kick it off. We've got a few topics that we're covering today. At Austin Energy, we start everything off with a safety moment. So I will be giving that safety moment, and we'll talk about moving on for the Austin Energy section. We'll be talking about how to save money on your commercial bill, also a good explainer of just what's on the bill, as well as diving into our solar rebate program. Austin Water will also be talking about conservation and ways to reduce your bill. Texas Gas is also stepping up to the plate. And if you guys can hang on till the end, we'll have a Q&A session, and we definitely want to hear from you. To kick off our safety moment here, GFCIs, ground fault circuit interrupters, are in almost every, hopefully in every building in Austin. They were invented around the 70s, and since then, it's estimated that they've reduced electrocutions, in-home electrocutions, by about 50%, which is really impressive. So knowing that some of you may be in older buildings, we wanted to just sort of refresh where you might find a GFCI. In fact, I lost power today, like literally just an hour ago. And when I went to go plug in my blender, my GFCI had tripped. So you're going to find them in your bathroom, your garage. All outdoor outlets should have GFCIs, balconies, desks, porches, also outside. Of course, any place around water, so your kitchen countertops, sink, laundry areas. The ground fault interrupter, what it's supposed to be able to do is stop the current from, going crazy in case you're having electrical issues. So what would you do with them? Let's step to the next slide. You're going to want to check them out. So if you feel like doing it today after this meeting, we definitely encourage it. May is Electrical Safety Month. So it's not a bad time to go to your building, go ahead and find one GFCI. They're usually all connected. So you can test it by pushing the reset button. You'll be able to tell which outlets are GFCI or not, just by the fact that a GFCI outlet will have a reset button on it. You can plug something in, it should be able to turn on. When you push the test button, it should lose power. That shows you that it's working. Go ahead and push the reset button, and then it should turn back on. So if you're not able to perform that quick test, that means that you could be having electrical problems. So I strongly encourage you to do it with just one of your GFCI outlets that you may find in your kitchen or outside, especially for Electrical Safety Month. So really quickly diving into meeting housekeeping, we'll be sending the presentation out to everybody. We are recording the session, and we will be posting it to the YouTube page. At this point, all attendees are muted. The chat box is open though, and we will be addressing any questions in the chat, and we really look forward to a Q&A after each speaker. And then we know that a lot of you probably still have questions about the winter storm. We will address those as best as we can. Our focus is really on energy efficiency, conservation, saving money. So those are our areas of expertise, but we'll try to address any questions you have. It's important to us that you all feel good about that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to Stephanie, or actually Joe, if you can help me pass the mic over to Stephanie, and she's going to help explain your commercial solar bill and ways to monitor, reduce, and save.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me for the presentation on monitor, reduce, and save money on your electric bill. Thank you, Valerie, for that great introduction. So today, I just want to talk with, hold on, I do not have presentation. There we go. So first topic for discussion is to reduce. Sorry for technical difficulties here. Reduce your usage and increase your money. So that's the focus of today, is basically showing everyone in the audience how to take control of your usage, and thereby taking control of your usage, putting money back into your pocket or into your business where it can be better utilized than spending it all on your energy use, or specifically electric use. So the three items that we'll be focused on today, this morning, for the next 10 minutes is understanding your billing, how to make sure that you're in the right category, monitoring it, and then also learning some strategies on how to reduce it. So diving right into the bill and understanding how it's laid out, it's critical to know for you folks in the audience that you do have control of this. And we're going to look at two specific things that you can focus on and control. First of which is the demand usage. So Austin Energy uses a demand usage class, and anything above 10 kW has a demand charge associated with it. But let's first take a look at the usage and see what the meaning of it is. So demand usage is the maximum flow of power a customer uses at any one time. So on the bill, you'll be able to see that it's the fourth item and it's labeled appropriately as demand usage. And in this case, this bill is showing a 10.13 kW usage for the month, indicated up here, 3.8 through 4.7. The goal for demand usage is to minimize it. If you can minimize your demand usage, you're going to spend less money on your electric delivery. So in the audience, there's two rate classes that I'm speaking to specifically today. The first one is the category 1 or second voltage 1, which is the less than 10 kW customers. And as you can see, there's a $0 associated with the kW usage. The second class in this audience is a secondary voltage 2. They'll be equal to 10 kW and less than 300 kW. As you can see, the charge for their service or their electric delivery is going to be $4.19 per kW, a significant increase in their bill. So the second item on your bill to pay attention to is the power factor. Power factor is described as how effectively power is consumed at your facility. So the goal for power factor is to stay below 0.9 or 90% to avoid a penalty. Again, just making sure that you're utilizing effectively the power that's being sent to your facility. If not, there'll be a power factor adjustment below 90% charge on every bill that's below 90%. So, excuse me for 1 minute. So let's take a look at how you monitor your usage. Austin Energy provides a free app. It's a web app. And so you'll use the URL that's here on your screen, log into austinenergyapp.com, put that into your browser. The page that you're seeing on the slide is exactly what you're going to see. And this is attached or associated with your City of Austin utility. And so you'll use the same username and the same password here to log in. To log in, you're going to see a screen that you'll be able to customize. And so there's 6 categories here that you'll be able to drill down into and see your cost, usage, and the other items listed on this page. The 2 we're going to look at this morning are specifically peak usage and usage alert. So if you were to click on the usage alert, it's going to pop up this box, and you're going to be able to set alerts for your KW and your KWH. That's going to be critical when you're monitoring and trying to control your demand usage, because you want to set an alert prior to you hitting a threshold that you do not want to exceed. And I'm going to stay with the 10 kW example for today, because that's where your demand charge starts to be realized. So for this case, an example, if this is my business, I would set my KW alert at about 8 kW. So I would know prior to approaching that threshold. That way I could look in my facility and see if there's any kind of areas of use that I could start to shut down or reduce the usage at that point. So there's 3 different views in the monitoring tool. We have monthly, daily, and 15-minute. I'd like to look at the monthly first, because that gives an overview of how the facility is using energy over the course of a year. So in this example, I've drawn a red dotted line at approximately the 10 kW threshold. And as you can see, this customer is barely exceeding that threshold in about 6 or 7 months out of the year. So with just a few strategies implemented in their business, they could actually drop below this 10 kW threshold and therefore not pay a demand charge and significantly reduce their electric bill for several months out of the year. The next item of attention is your daily monitoring. Now, this is really where it gets interesting because you can actually look to see how the facility is running, whether you're there or not. And in this case, we're looking at Wednesday, April 7th, and this is a real load profile of a customer. And what I've seen here is that at 7 in the morning, they almost exceeded the 10 kW threshold, and so they almost hit a demand charge or a new demand rate right at the beginning of the business day. Now, what that looks like is whoever started up the business turned everything on at the same time. So that's strategy number one. Don't turn everything on at the same time. Start to educate the employees or whoever's starting up the business that this is a behavior, and a behavior can be changed just by teaching some new things. Just turn on the lights you need and other things. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as we take a look at how this business ramped up in the course of a day, this is a pretty normal incline for usage because it's getting hotter and hotter outside. They're getting more occupancy within the business. And so naturally, this is going to go up. Again, right at about the 10K mark, I would have set an alarm telling me, hey, I'm exceeding or getting close to a threshold, because at 3 o'clock that afternoon, they did hit their peak demand and they went over 10 kW. So therefore, they had a new rate for the whole month. And at that point, they hit their demand rate. So let's look at load profile in one more view. So this is a typical usage. In the blue, you can see interior lighting for this retail shop. And in the green, you can see the cooling load. So just by reducing either one of these, the lighting or the cooling, would also reduce and bring this peak, this is their peak demand right here, and bring that below the threshold that they're trying to stay underneath. So let's look at a couple strategies to do that. These are no-cost, low-cost strategies that I'm going to share with you. So for interior lighting, we're looking at having a store opening protocol, making sure that, again, the behaviors are that don't turn everything on at the same time. Slowly ramp the business up. Use occupancy sensors. That's a low-cost item you can install for things like restrooms. If you're in a restaurant, then like the freezers, or just don't turn on lights where they don't need to be on yet. Use them as they need be. If you have old type of lighting, like fluorescent T12s or T8s, those may be using magnetic ballasts, and those consume a lot of energy when they're first turned on. So recommend doing an LED upgrade, and we can help you with that. Power strips, smart power strips, another great way to control displays and other lights that aren't necessarily needed at a certain point in time. So stepping into cooling, same type of strategy. Have a store opening protocol. Make sure that if you have more than one HVAC system, that they're alternated when they come on. At least bring them on 15 to 30 minutes apart from each other. And don't turn them on like at 70 degrees or 72 degrees. Start them out slow. Set them 68 or 78, 76. And then as the day heats up, program your smart thermostats to control that. As the occupancy of the building becomes more and more, then you can strategically reduce the cooling, and therefore you won't be hitting these high peaks. You'll be trying to maintain that load right below the threshold line. So how can we help you? Austin Energy is here to help you. We have rebate programs designed specifically for small business customers. We have HVAC tune-ups with smart thermostats available right now. We have participating contractors that would come out and do that maintenance on your units for low to no cost. We have demand response programs for the summer to help keep your usage low, and those are voluntary programs, but we still pay you for participating in them. And then, of course, I mentioned the LED lighting program for upgrades. That significantly can help you reduce your lighting load. And then a little icing on the cake is we have a 30% bonus for all small businesses. So please, we are here to help you. Contact us. That's our email, commercialrebates@austinenergy.com. Love to help you. We're here to serve you. And I thank you for your time today. I hope this has been helpful. So over to you, Micah.
Excellent. Are we saving questions to the end?
Yes, we'll answer them together, you and I.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Pass over the control here. All right. Excellent. My name is Micah Jasuda. Oh, let me turn my video here. Maybe. I'm not seeing the video button. There we go. All right. Okay. So let's see. My name is Micah Jasuda. I'm a project manager with the Customer Renewable Solutions Group. Customer Renewable Solutions is our team that manages our solar program and also our Green Choice Wind program. So I have a little bit about Austin Energy, kind of an overview about our solar programs and the history. I want to talk about commercial solar, how it works. That's kind of the main thing I want to get you to understand today is just how commercial solar interacts with your buildings. And then value of solar. So the two things to describe with solar, you have your rate, the way that we pay everybody for their solar energy. And then we have the incentive, so we have a performance-based incentive currently, and that's on top of the rate. And then if you can't do solar, we do have a couple of subscription options to participate in renewable energy. So this is just a fun timeline. If it works, yep, looks like it's working. So our program started back in 2004. And you can see, it's exponentially grown as time has gone by. We have mostly the number, as far as count goes, most of our installations across time, these are customer-owned installations mostly, are residential. There are some large ones that are commercial. We have a lot of commercial going in, and then we have city-owned as well and community solar. So we are part of the city of Austin. So we are the electric company for the city of Austin. We have about 500,000 customer accounts. And we are the third largest city-owned electric utility in the United States. And then one other last thing, we are 4% of ERCOT's load, which is an interesting stat there. We do have some aggressive goals to green up our energy mix. So being part of the city council, your elected city council dictates our goals, and we work together on those. So we want to be 85%, we need to be 85% carbon free by 2023. So one way of doing that is through renewables. You can see in 2018, we were 37% renewables. By 2023, we project to be 60%. This is a fun link. Come back and click this on another day. And this shows you a live shot of what our generation mix is currently. And I took this shot just the other day, April 27th. You can see we were mostly wind. A lot of renewable energy. This was a year ago on May 12th, almost all renewable energy. So it changes, right? Renewable energy is at the whims of the sun and the wind, unless you have energy storage. So, it's always changing. So as far as solar goals go, by 2030, we have two goals. We have a local solar goal, and we need to hit 375 megawatts. And right now, we are looking like about 275. We're doing well. And then we also need to hit, of that 375, 200 megawatts of that needs to be customer sided. That's why we have these programs to work with our customers so they install their own solar, and we will help incentivize that. We are on track to meet these goals. I just like this slide because it shows the red is residential and this yellow is commercial. So it shows, as far as a portion of the generation, commercial has got a good proportion, but you can see the number of commercial, the yellow here is commercial here. This is residential. We have almost 10,000 residential customers and only 432 commercial. So commercial customers do a lot, do larger systems at a time. They make up a big chunk of the generation, but we are trying to grow those numbers. So, okay, so this is the big slide I wanted to impart. And this is the kind of the flow of commercial solar, how solar energy works. So my analogy here is you can kind of think of it like a creek going into a river. So you have a spring that is bubbling water into the creek, and the spring is kind of like your solar panels. And then we have a meter there as the spring feeds into the creek. The creek is like your distribution, it's like your electric panel and all the plugs and switches in your building. So along the path of the power, once we've metered it at the spring coming into the creek, the creek will also have to enter the river. So we're gonna meter that spot where the creek enters the river. So solar energy is installed on your roof, behind the billing meter. So behind that point where the creek enters the river. And that means that it serves your loads first. So anything that you can use on site is being used by your building before it enters the river, which is the grid. So all solar production is recorded by a PV meter. That's like right there at the source of the spring feeding into the creek. And then we have the net billing meter where the creek goes into the river. So as far as the rate goes, we count everything that was produced by the solar panels, by the spring going into the creek. And we credit you back, depending on your rate class, and I'll go more into that in a second. We credit you back for all of that solar generation, whether you used that solar or whether you sent it back to the grid. So whether while it was in the creek, it got used up by agriculture, by irrigation, or whether it made it all the way to the river and went out to the grid. But the demand charges, we allow for coincidental reduction of demand charges. And I'll go more into that, but that's kind of like, okay, if you're able to consume some of that creek water before it goes into the river, then we won't charge you for all of the water going into the river. So it's basically thinking of it like that. It's a way to reduce your demand charges. And then we have incentives on top of that. So at the PV meter, so all your solar generation, you'll get an incentive if you qualify. So there are some qualifications for that. So some things to ask yourself if you're thinking about going solar: do you pay your own electric bills? If you're going to be paying for solar, then you want to be able to take advantage of the benefits of it. So if you don't pay your own electric bills, then you wouldn't be seeing those benefits, right? Do you have long-term access to your roof? There is a payback period associated with solar, so you want to make sure that you can see that payback through. Do you have shade on your roof? Obviously, no sun is bad for solar panels. Shade is bad. Do you have access to funding? So you have to be able to pay for it, obviously. And there are financing mechanisms out there. Are you located in the downtown grid? So if you are downtown, we have rules about sending solar back to the grid, and it's much more difficult to do solar if you are in the very distinct downtown network outside of the 35 and MOPAC. We don't, it's very restricted to just right in that downtown area. But if you have any questions about that, we can let you know if you are in the downtown grid or not. And then, do you have tenants with a triple net lease? So again, if you're paying for the solar, then you want to be able to take the benefits. And if the tenants are paying for the utilities, then they would be seeing the benefits. So it's kind of something to just consider there. And can you leverage tax incentives? So there's a 26, and here down the incentives, there's a 26% investment tax credit for federal. That drops down next year, and then it levels out at 10%. There's also a maker's depreciation schedule, so really powerful tax incentives for solar to lower the cost, and then we have incentives as well. So commercial value of solar, like I said, we meter all of your solar energy, and for everything that you produce, we give you a fixed rate for that. If you are a demand charge customer, so if you ever at any point during the year you spike over 10 kilowatts, which is most folks, then your value of solar rate is 6.7 cents per kilowatt hour. If you are non-demand, so if you're under 10 kilowatts, then you get the residential value of solar rate, which is 9.7 cents per kilowatt hour. So we'll talk more about the demand charge reductions. So you are credited for everything, whether you used it or whether you sent it back to the grid. just like you're charged for what you use as well. And then if you are over 1 megawatt, which probably doesn't apply to many folks, then there's a slightly lower rate for that. And you can see here how we break this down. There's some, this is a transparent breakdown of how we come up with those values. So as far as the demand charges go, so you can look at this dashed line here, and this is the demand of the building throughout the day. In this example here, because the solar was kicking on and cranking during the day, and the peak consumption point for the building was up here at the top, while the solar was running, the net here, the net line is kind of down here. So because this was your peak demand point, but solar dropped that demand down here. Now it's shifted your peak demand point down into here, where the top of the purple is. So you have avoided your peak demand here somewhat. So it has to line up with the sun and with your demand. If you peak at night, then you're not going to see this. If your peak demand is on a cloudy day, then you won't see this reduction either. So here's an example here. Solar is cranking on during the day, but you can see this customer, they peaked in their consumption at night. So they didn't see a demand charge reduction due to solar. We do have a PBI, a performance-based incentive. So we have different tiers. Check out this link here and you can see our tiers. But basically on top of the rate, depending on what tier you qualify for, we give you an added per kilowatt hour incentive. So for small commercial, and this is by small commercial nonprofit, looks like I have a greater than rather than we got a crash. Check out our incentive levels online. Let's see if we can get this back. Joe's working on it. So check out our incentive levels online. They do drop down over time, and they ramp down by design. So as we hit certain capacities, as enough people install at those levels, we ramp it down so that we can include more customers per dollar spent. Almost at the end here. Okay, so commercial bills here. So you saw the bill that Stephanie showed. So this is a bill before solar. You can see the demand charge is 8.44 here. Our demand consumption was 8.44. You can see their bill was 316. So this is what it looks like after solar. This is the meter line that they had before. Here's another meter. You get a solar meter installed. You can see they generated 2,500 kilowatt hours. So that they get on 2,500 kilowatt hours, they get a PBI. I'm sorry, that's the consumption, 2,500. So they generated 1,491. So they get a value of solar for 1,491 at negative 6.6 cents, 6.7 cents, and then they get a PBI at 5 cents as well. So you get some really nice credits here. This is about the same time of the year, a year apart, before solar, after solar. Their bill went down from 316 down to 93. We do have a commercial contractors list. Check them out. We have 36 contractors to choose from. If you want to get an incentive, you do need to use one of these contractors. So just a rundown of our offerings. We have incentives and we have subscriptions. And I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. We are working on changing our commercial incentive structure. So just kind of high level, what we are, and this is preliminary, but we're going down the path now where we can share this. We're going to transition from a 10-year performance-based incentive to a 5-year. So whereas we have a 10-year contract currently and we pay out over the PBI rate over 10 years, what we want to do is shrink that down into a 5-year time frame and then give you more money, a higher incentive level. And then that way it lines up better with payback periods. You want to create a shorter payback period window and help out with access to capital during when those payments are being made. So so you can see kind of where we're going. We're kind of changing the tiers up a little bit, and we're creating a new program just for small business and nonprofits. So it's going to be what we call a CBI, capacity-based incentive. So instead of being based on the production you produce every month, we're going to say, okay, you're installing this much solar. We'll give you this many dollars per watt that you install of solar. Give it to you upfront. Upfront, what we found from customers is is more powerful because a dollar today is better than a dollar tomorrow. Let's take that dollar and time value of money. Let's take it now up front. We can lower our payback period times. So this is something that we will be ramping out, and I just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of it. And then if you can't do solar on your roof, or if you don't own your roof, or you have any of those problems that would preclude you from being able to do solar, we do have a Green Choice subscription program. There's a small premium that you pay on top of your electric bill, but you get all of your power provided to you from 100% Texas wind energy. I think that was maybe my last slide or close to it. Hope it's not my my slides that are crashing this. Okay, I'll leave you with this slide here. Come back and reference this current offering slide. It has a list of links. And that's it for me. Any questions you have, I'd be happy to answer them. I think our next is heading back to Joe for some trivia, unless anybody has questions.
There's a question for Stephanie in the chat.
Yeah, I did answer that one. So it was the one from Kelly. He's asking if we still can rebate for EvapoCool technology for commercial, and the answer is yes. I have reached out to our engineering team right now, and yes, confirmed that we still can offer that as a custom technology measure. So thank you, Kelly, for the question.
And I know I went through the solar stuff real fast. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And I appreciate y'all's time.
Great, thanks, Micah. Don't see any additional questions, so we're going to do a quick trivia question here. The two winners with the closest answer will each receive a set of Austin Energy branded thermal mugs. So I'm going to launch a poll here, and everyone should see it up in their window. And you should be able to put in an answer, and we'll give it about a minute or so for folks to put in their answer. But the people see the trivia question. The question is, between 2000 and 2019, by what percentage did the population grow in the greater Austin area? Give it another 30 seconds. All right, and moving on, hopefully everyone got their answers in. We'll give it 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. All right, and moving on to the answer here. The answer is 78%. So in the greater Austin metropolitan area, our population came close to doubling in the past 20 years. And so, obviously we're all experiencing a lot of the rapid growth here in Austin, and during that same time period for Austin Energy, our peak electric demand increased by about 15%. And so a lot of that is in recognition of the efforts that we have on energy efficiency and trying to encourage our customers to reduce their electric consumption. And so not only do we want to help you guys save money on your bills, but it's also less generation, less power plants that we have to build as long as we're able to encourage our customers to be energy efficient. So we will be sending out some mugs to the winners, and we'll follow up with you via email or some other way to make sure we get it to the right address. So thanks everyone for participating, and I will kick it over to our next speaker, Laura from Austin Water. Laura, please take it away, and I will give you the mouse control.
Thank you, Joseph. Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to join you today. I'm going to talk a little bit about rates and include a little bit about what we've done with the response to the winter storm event. So we have 5 different rate classes, and I've got them listed here. The single family residential, commercial, multifamily, which is typically apartment complexes, large volume. Those are our very large water users that use upwards of more than 85 million gallons a year. And then we also sell to wholesale customers that are outside our direct retail service area, but serve our neighboring communities. You can find information about the detail with our rates on our website. And I know Tasha in her presentation in a moment has an image of what it looks like on that website. So I'm going to the next slide. Whoops, I need to back up one. Joseph, can you help me with that?
Hey, Laura, I was able to use the left and right buttons to move left and right.
Okay, thank you. I want to touch briefly on residential customers because even though this is a small business webinar, I figure everybody lives somewhere, whether it's in Austin or somewhere else. So I want to touch on the water rates. In Austin, there are 5 components to your bill. You've got 2 fixed charges that are the 2 monthly charges. One part of that is based on the size of your meter. I've listed the 2 most common residential sizes here. There are other larger sizes that are on the full schedule you'll find on the website. And then the other component of the monthly charge that you're going to have is a fixed charge, and that's going to be based on the volume of water that you're using each month. So in addition to those regular monthly charges, you also are billed a volume charge based on the gallons of water that you are using each month. And we do have an escalating scale. We have a 5-tier schedule for our rates, and it is slanted towards working to help manage watering behaviors. The more water that's used, the more expensive those gallons are that are higher, because we are very committed to water conservation. We have a limited resource. And so this is an incentive for folks to continue to conserve water. Other components are a reserve fund surcharge, which helps us manage through fluctuations. Some years we have a lot of rain, people don't use a lot of water. Other years we have droughts, people are using a whole lot of water. And so the reserve fund surcharge is a part of the rate that helps kind of even out the needs over those years. And then we also says a community benefit charge, which supports our assistance, our customer assistance program for those customers who have economic needs. Going next is the commercial rates. So I'm not sure I have control at the moment, Joseph. So if you can forward it. Okay, here we go. So I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the commercial rates, which are similar. And
I'll just advance the slides, Laura. I'm not sure what's happening, but just let me know and I'll advance it for you.
Okay, thank you. We don't have tiered rates per se with commercial, but we do have seasonal rates. And you'll see the same volumetric rates there in the middle. There's one value for off-peak during the winter and spring months, and then different rates for the summer, early fall months. And the reserve fund surcharge, community benefit charges remain the same. So I wanted to just give you a bit of general information about the rates. And if you go to the next slide, please. This is the wastewater rates for, I just pulled out the commercial. There is a fixed charge, and then there's a volume charge per 1,000 gallons. And again, all the volume is based on 1,000 gallons. And you're going to be billing wastewater volume based on a wastewater average. And during months where your water usage is less than a wastewater average, your wastewater is also going to be based on that lower water volume amount. Your wastewater is determined by your water use during the winter months, late fall, winter months, from mid-November to mid-March, whichever 3 billing periods fall with that in that time frame. That is the volumetric use that's used to calculate your wastewater average. So we encourage everyone to conserve water as much as possible during your wastewater averaging period, because that saves you money for the next 12 months for when your wastewater average is set for that next 12-month period. So wastewater average is used for commercial customers that don't have any separate irrigation meters on their property. For customers that have an irrigation meter on their property, all of the water that's used from what we call their domestic meter that feeds the facility, all of that water is generally going to be discharged into the sanitary sewer system. And so the wastewater charges are based on the same volume as used for that facility water use. So we call that gallon per gallon, based on the same wastewater volume will be the same as the water volume. Since the irrigation outside usage that does not get discharged into the sanitary sewer system is taken care of with the irrigation meter, it's actually a pretty accurate way of measuring the wastewater volume. And then the wastewater bill also includes a community benefit charge of 15 cents per 1,000 gallons. I want to give you some tips. And Stephanie covered some of these, but one of the things I'll reinforce with what Stephanie said is monitor your bills, monitor your water usage. This is especially critical if you choose to do budget billing. This is where you have an average of your bills over a 6-month period, and then you're billing the same amount each month on your bill for the next 6 months. At the end of that 6-month period, if you want to continue budget billing, then you'll recalculate a new budget billing set amount. What we find is folks on budget billing sometimes get surprises. They've been paying the same amount, but they haven't been watching what their water usage is doing during those months. And if there is a leak, if there is an issue with the irrigation, if there's any kind of problem causing excess water usage, that's going to show up at the end of that 6-month true-up period. And folks are going to wonder, well, why is my budget billing amount going up so much? So just be sure that you're monitoring your water usage on your actual bill. Look at that volume, even though you're paying the same amount each month, if you are one of those who have opted for budget billing. And the same advice goes to folks who may have auto payments set up. Even though that payment is going in automatically, be sure and take a look at your bill each month. You can check either if you get a paper bill or check online. You can log into the portal to look at your bill each month. And I put a bullet here as for developing story. Austin Water is in the process of implementing AMI meters, the automatic meters, automated metering infrastructure, much like you already have with your electric meters. And we also have a portal that will show the hourly usage for your water usage once you get on your AMI meter. We have begun those installations now and will continue them for the next 4 years until we have the entire city covered with AMI meters. So that is a feature that is going to really be great to help folks stay on top of their water usage. We already have it set up where folks will receive alerts if they have apparent continuous usage, which may be indicative of so we're really excited about what AMI is going to be able to provide to each of you. Manage your irrigation systems. And even if you are a tenant, I recommend that you have an understanding of that. Make sure you know who's responsible for repairing any water issues. Watch to make sure that your landlord is following the irrigation schedules once a week to help manage the costs. And then also just check and see what the terms of your lease agreement are on who's responsible for utilities and any excess usage. And for larger facilities, we do offer a program for evaporative loss, which is a way to significantly lower your wastewater costs for any facilities that have cooling towers that want to apply to that program. And if you do run into a problem, be sure to call the contact center, the utilities contact center early, and they can help you work through whatever we might have available to assist you. And with that, I'm going to touch just briefly on the winter storm. We did provide adjustments to accounts so that folks overall did not have any adverse impact because of excess usage from dripping faucets or leaks during that winter storm period. We've also modified wastewater averaging to eliminate adverse impacts from the storm. And one of the other things we did was we waived emergency cutoff fees for any folks who had leaks that needed their water cut off for repairs. And with that, I will turn the session over to Tasha.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tasha Stewart with Austin Water in the, oh, let me turn on my video. There you go. From my messy kitchen. I work in the water conservation division and I handle most of our commercial rebates. So I wanted to go over some of that with you here today. Let's see. Okay, here we go. And to find all our commercial rebates, they are all listed on our website. So if you just Google Austin Water, the first link is our website, and then we have this white ribbon at the top with menu, pull drop downs, and under saving water, you'll find rebate tools and programs, and that will take you to find advancing the screen. There we go. We'll take you to this page, and I hope you don't mind my rough drawings, but wanted to highlight the free tools heading, and under there we have our commercial subheading. And I'll get into some of those free tools in a second. And further down the page, you'll find rebates and the commercial subheading with all our commercial rebates, and those are links straight to the applications. And then further down the page, I wanted to mention we have a program section. And if these programs are applicable to your account, to your property, you need to be current with those in order to be eligible for any of our rebates. So our commercial facility irrigation assessment program applies to properties, our commercial properties that are 1 acre in size or larger. We have a car wash assessment program if you're a car wash, and then a cooling tower efficiency program if you have a cooling tower. Yes, so just make sure you're in compliance with those. Moving on. So, and one more thing on that website, we have this, or that web right there on that page. On the right-hand side, we have a sign up for a water conservation commercial newsletter that I wanted to highlight because It's the only newsletter that the Water Conservation Division puts out. It's specifically for our commercial customers, and we'll update you on our rebates. So be sure to sign up for that. We hope you do. Anyway, there it is on our page. So under free tools, we have a 3C business challenge. Now that is, there's no money associated with that. If you click on that, it takes you to a checklist to do a self audit of your property, help you walk through your property, identify any areas where there could be leaks or just opportunities for upgrades to achieve greater water efficiency. And if you complete it and send it back to us, we can give you some recognition with the certificate. And hopefully it would help you identify some rebates you might be applicable for or eligible for. We have free shower heads and faucet aerators for multifamily facilities. If you are multifamily facilities, you can pick those up at our office. And a WaterWise hotel partnership, that's just some resources for hotels to achieve greater water efficiency, and we can give you, again, some recognition. Where is that? There we go. Okay, so getting into the rebates. I'll try to go through these ones quickly because I want to spend a few more minutes on two of them. The irrigation system improvement, we recently increased the amount. If you're upgrading components of your irrigation system, you can get a rebate. Or also we modified this one to apply to brand new irrigation systems now. So I'd look into that if you are installing one. We have a commercial kitchen equipment rebate. If you have a commercial kitchen and are applying or purchasing certain appliances, we can give you a rebate for them. They're all listed on the rebate application. A cartridge pool filter only for multifamily, and then also only for multifamily if you're installing a pressure regulating valve. Again, another one for multifamily, WaterWise landscape. That's for turf conversion. If you're converting turf grass to drought tolerant landscape. A rainscape one only for schools. And then rainwater harvesting, that's for everyone, residential, any kind of commercial. If you install rainwater harvesting system, you can get up to $5,000 in a rebate, and that's based on the capacity and the cost of the system that you're installing. So I want to spend more time on this one because I think it's a great way to reduce your overall water bill. A water efficiency audit rebate. So this is again an audit of your property, but if you pay for a third party to prepare this audit for you, we pay 75% of the cost of that to have that done, up to $5,000. And the audit report will identify any leaks that are going on and needed repairs, and any setting changes on your equipment and that you can make to save water, the estimated gallons per day that you would save. It would identify rebates that you could possibly apply for. And it will also identify the return on your investment for making these upgrades. We do ask if you apply for this rebate and you commit to making the repairs and setting changes that the audit identifies. And then for any upgrades, you can apply for, well, again, you're eligible for all our rebates to make those upgrades. So it's a nice comprehensive one that really gives you a lot of information. And then Bucks for Business rebate. This is our largest catch-all type of rebate. It's customizable and it's performance-based. So we can apply this rebate basically to anything that you install that you can show achieves water savings. beyond what is already required by code or just beyond industry standards. We will calculate what you're going to save over a 10-year period, and then we pay you $1 for every 1,000 gallons of that amount. And we pay you that right away once the rebate process is complete. You don't have to wait 10 years. We pay you that up front. And one thing I want to highlight, we need you to submit the application for this rebate before you purchase or install any equipment. We can't retroactively rebate for projects already done however many years ago. So that's a really important one with this one. Just contact me or get us that little application. It doesn't even have to be complete, but just let us know as soon as you're thinking about doing any kind of upgrade. And one more slide to talk about just, some of the, oh dear. Well, that last slide was to just go over some of the projects that we can apply Bucks for Business. Thank you. We can apply Bucks for Business to, I mean, really it can be anything that you can show us saves water. But for instance, if you're just putting in brand new toilets, that code requirement for toilets is 1.6 gallons per flush. If you're installing 0.8 gallons per flush toilets, then we can calculate that difference over a 10-year period and give you a rebate for those toilets. Or any kind of aerators and shower heads that are more efficient than code. And if you're a high-tech industry for reuse of high-quality rinse water, if you're healthcare equipment, we can apply it to. If you're capturing alternative water sources for on-site reuse, such as AC condensate, rainwater, gray water, foundation drain water, cooling tower improvements, if you have laundry facilities, if you have a ability to reduce laundry water, sorry. And yeah, steam boilers for multifamily facilities. So anyway, that's just to give you an idea of we want to apply this wherever we can. And that's about it for our rebate. If you have any questions, you can put those in the chat box, and you can reach out to me at Tasha Stewart at austintexas.gov. And yeah, we can walk you through that application process. And that's well, I think we have a trivia question next.
We're running pretty far behind on schedule, so unfortunately I'm just going to skip over that and bring up our next speaker, Carmen from Texas Gas.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Carmen Lewepanos with Texas Gas Service. I do community relations, and we are going to talk about your natural gas bill, your commercial natural gas bill. Joseph, will you advance to the next slide, please? Okay, so Texas Gas Service, first of all, we are a privately owned, publicly regulated business, so we are not a part of the City of Austin. However, we do work hand in hand with the City of Austin and consider them a great partner. Reading your commercial bill. So natural gas bills are generated monthly, and they're based on CCF usage. And CCF is a unit of volume that's equal to 100 cubic feet of natural gas. And your bill, the rate is the cost of service rate, which equals your delivery charge, your cost of gas, and then the rate that it costs to deliver that gas. So when you take a look at your bill, you'll see that you have a customer charge, and that customer charge helps to cover all of the expenses of keeping the system running. And that's the vast underground system of pipes that delivers natural gas to your business. And then you've got the cost of delivery, which is there, the 0.12679 cents. And then you've got the cost of gas. So every month, Texas Gas Service calculates the cost of gas, and that cost is passed on directly to customers. There are no changes to that cost of gas. That is simply a pass-through charge. And for example, if you would like to save on your natural gas bill, for example, the cost of gas per CCF per 100 CCF is 37 cents. So if you reduced your gas usage by 10 CCF per month, you would be able to save $3.70. And if you increase your reduction in the use of natural gas, you will be able to save even more money. And next is Jasmine, my coworker who works in energy efficiency, because another way to reduce your natural gas bill is to install high efficiency natural gas equipment. And if you'll go to the next slide, and Jasmine, tell us about some of the rebates you have available for our commercial customers. Jasmine, you may be muted.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, I was going to say, did we lose Jasmine?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I was saying thanks for hanging with us, everyone. I know there's a lot of information that everybody has presented, and if you've made it this far, congratulations. My name is Jasmine Kingbush, as my coworker Carmen has said, and I run the Energy Efficiency Program on behalf of Texas Gas Service for the state of Texas. We currently operate in the Central Texas area and a few surrounding cities, and also Rio Grande Valley. But you're interested in the central area because you own a business in this area, and I want to let you know what you can do, some small steps that you can tweak in your day-to-day business operations that would help you see some savings on your bill, and then also maybe you can pick up some tips if you are a Texas Gas customer at home, or some maybe a couple larger steps that you could use to see advantageous benefits to your bill as well. Let's see here. I want to go back one slide and see if that. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Joseph, are you running for me? Is that who's doing it? Because it's not working for me.
I'll give it back to you.
Okay. No, that's fine. If you just advance one slide, that works. Because then I can talk and I don't have to try to multitask, which I don't think I'm doing too well. Thank you. So we have a commercial program. We have a residential program as well. The commercial program provides rebates for things like appliances. So if you're looking to update or install a water heating program, commercial dryer, food service equipment, we also have a commercial natural gas vehicle program. You can look at our rebates. We just updated our website. I'm super excited about that. And that is texasgasservice.com/rebates. So you can go there and you can see all the information I'm presenting today. There's some forms on there that you can look at that will give you more information, contact information as well. So if there's anything that you miss in this presentation, feel free to jump on that website. If you have a business, let's say a motel, if you have a restaurant, we partner with a company called Clear Result, and they will come in, they'll make an appointment with you, they'll come in on our behalf, and they do things like install weather stripping, aerators, spray valves, If you have a restaurant, spray valves are going to come in handy for you. And you can also schedule that with us. You can email us at energyefficiency@texasgasservice.com. And I have a staff member who will get that email and set that up for you. We can also partner with Clear Result, and they can reach out to you as well. They do go out into the community for our customers, and so they may contact you independent of you contacting us. But either way, we want to make sure that you make use of what we have out there. We have commercial, and then we have commercial transport customers as well. Our program for commercial doesn't make a differentiation between commercial and commercial transport, but what we do is there are inside city limits and outside city limits boundaries surrounding our service area. And what you want to do is make sure you take a look at your bill, and you will see on your bill there's a little box. You want to kind of look at the bottom of the box, and there'll be an I/S or O/S. If you are I/S, this program is a program that you pay into. You see the charge on your bill under CAC. That means a conservation adjustment charge. That means you participate in the program. If you see O/S, that means that you don't currently pay into the program. So these benefits don't apply to you at the moment. Towards the end of my presentation, I'll show you what you can participate in, though. Next slide, please, Joe. Thank you. Let's see. So as Carmen touched on, you can reduce your consumption and see a change in your bill immediately. You can utilize high efficiency natural gas appliances. That will also help you to see a change in your bill to your benefit. When possible, substitute cold water usage for hot water, and then also adjust your thermostat. A great way to do that is to use a programmable thermostat. So that way you don't have to keep fiddling with it. And I have someone who lives in South Austin, and they actually control their thermostat on their phone. That's beyond me, but it will help you see a change in your bill for the better. Next slide, please. Also, side note, if you are a residential customer, we do have a program that we partner with Austin Energy, Home Performance with Energy Star, and you can utilize, there's a rebate available for thermostats. So again, visit the website. All this information is on the website. To help our customers stay reminded of energy efficiency tips and tricks, we do have an energy efficiency newsletter that goes out, the Efficient Living newsletter. It doesn't go out on a regular cadence, but we do try to send several out a year, just as a little reminder to say, great job in doing what you're doing, and here's some tips you may not be aware of. Right now, we have a water savings kit promotion for our residential customers, so that's what I wanted to say. If you are inside the service area for water savings kits, you can grab one right now. They're going on. Next slide, please. And if you have any questions, I want to make myself available, but I know that I want to be mindful of the time, of your time, and also my fellow panelists' time. You feel free to reach out to me. I'm Jasmine King Bush. My email is jasmine.king-bush, JASMINE.king-bush@onegas.com. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation today. And if this applies, thanks for being a Texas Gas Service customer. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Carmen.
Great, thanks, Jasmine. Thanks to all of our speakers. So we'll conclude our presentation, and as we mentioned earlier, we'll send out a copy of the presentation as a PDF to all the attendees, so you can have that information on hand. And we very much appreciate everyone attending this webinar. And thanks again to all of our co-presenters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.